Part 79. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 782. In the blink of an eye, the martial arts gold list disappeared from the sky. On the earth, Tianai Mountain has disappeared and is a mess. Everyone felt as if they were in another world, as if they were in a dream. They looked at Long Xuan's back. At this moment, everyone couldn't help but kneel on the ground. Greetings, Martial Lord. Meet Wuzun. Meet Wuzun. No matter who it is, they are chanting at this moment. This kind of awe comes from the heart. They all already understood that this was a generation of unparalleled powerhouses. Comes from the pre-White Fog era. Reborn into the world. Wuzun, I was wrong, I was wrong. Wu knelt on the ground, his face trembling and extremely humble. How could this happen? How could he be a martial lord? Mo Mingzu's face was filled with panic and regret. OMG. Wu Xiaoqan could actually follow Wuzun? What an honor is this? And I actually missed Wu Xiaoqan. If he had not broken off the engagement, if he had made the right choice and was able to marry Wu Xiaoqan, then now he would also be blessed by Wuzun. She regretted it so much that her intestines turned green with regret. But under everyone's gaze, Long Xuan stood silently for a long time before slowly walking over. He picked up the broken stone. In the past, the small stone outside his thatched cottage was a round stone the size of a human head. The small stone here is just a clone, so a piece the size of a fist should be separated from the round stone. His heart is commendable, his actions are deplorable. Qing Chen couldn't help but walked over and said, "Take it back with you. It will be fate to meet again after thousands of years." Long Xuan nodded, turned around, and suddenly threw it to Wu Xiaoqan aside. Although this stone's spiritual wisdom has been destroyed, it still contains many of my insights from back then, as well as many martial arts, which may be of some use to you. Today's Oath Keepers still lack effective skills. You can't just turn on the Xuanhuan and do radio gymnastics as soon as you meet for a fight. Hearing this, Wu Xiaoqan was extremely excited. It should be noted that people in the world are simply breaking their heads for the sake of inheritance on the martial arts gold list. Because those skills are so precious, and having one of them is enough to establish a religion. At this moment, this small stone contains all the inheritance and methods of the Northern Martial Arts Gold List. This can be said to be the foundation of the Oath Keepers. He hurriedly took the stone and said gratefully, "Thank you, Wuzun." Wu Xiaoqan's eyes were filled with awe. Previously, neither he nor Xian King I knew the true origin of Long Xuan. Only now do I realize that Long Xuan is actually a martial lord from the pre-Beiwu era. Such an identity, I really can't imagine it, I have to respect it. However, Long Xuan shook his head and said, "Martial master is in the past, just call me Brother Long." Wu Xiaoqan was startled for a moment, filled with surprise and said, "Thank you, Brother Long." Long Xuan nodded and said, "It's over now, let's go back." Qing Chen said, "How to deal with these people? Have you all transcended?" Long Xuan glanced at it and said, "Martial arts golden ranking has been punished, and the martial arts pavilion is its servant. The blood sin is too deep, so it should be destroyed. It should also be destroyed." These three words are tantamount to a death sentence for martial arts pavilion. No. Martial Lord, please spare my life. We are innocent. Don't kill us. Everyone in the martial arts pavilion was pleading. However, Long Xuan's expression remained indifferent. He glanced at Dehei and said, "Dehei, we're in trouble. The main reason is, the martial arts aura left over from his previous life has been exhausted by killing strange creatures. Now, Long Xuan is only a cultivator of the first and third realms. I can't move even if I want to." The big black dog nodded and said, "Look at me. It waved its big claws and exerted great power. Immediately, everyone in the martial arts pavilion was wiped out. Death spreads. Xuanhuan, save me, you and I have a marriage contract, have you forgotten? We are our parents' orders, you can't just die without saving me. Mo Mingzu looked at Wu Xiaoqan with tears in her eyes. However, Wu Xiaoqan just shook his head. If I had known today, why bother in the beginning? Mo Mingzu was soon annihilated. The martial arts pavilion is completely destroyed. Others, such as Luo Tianling from the God of War Academy, Buletin Wanchen from the Tailing sect, etc., were as silent as a cicada at the moment. They had offended Wu Zun before. However, Long Zixuan and others did not even look at them and walked away directly. After all, these people are not guilty of any great evil, and their sins do not lead to death. Of course, before leaving, the big black dog still used his magic to cut off everyone's memories. After all, it is not appropriate for Long Zixuan's identity to be spread to the outside world now. After they left. Hey, what happened? Why did this place become like this? Where is the martial arts gold list? Where is the genius of our sect? Everyone is like waking up from a big dream, having completely forgotten everything just now. Seeing the Tianai mountain that had been bulldozed, seeing the blood all over the place, everyone was stunned. No, I can't remember anything, but how do I remember that the previous auction at Genchi Pavilion was just dog shit? At this time, someone suddenly spoke. Suddenly, everyone remembered. Yes, it seems that all geniuses eat dog shit. Damn it, why do I only remember this? What's going on? They had forgotten everything, leaving only a sudden memory. That is, the things previously auctioned by Genchi Pavilion were bullshit. And the previous scene of everyone taking the spiritual medicine in the golden curtain. Damn, that's so wicked, what did that grandson do? He cut off all my memories, leaving only the memory of me eating shit. The ancestor of Balin dynasty suddenly lost his mentality. Is this a personnel matter? After leaving Tianai Prefecture, Master is looking for the last rare plant, which should be in the South China Sea. Long Zixuan spoke. According to what Wu Yazun just said, the true form of that small stone was in the southern region, peeping at the South China Sea, waiting for the lotus to bloom. Wow, I suggest that you go back to the village first. The big black dog opened his mouth and said. I always feel that it is better for the dead turtle to take a look at the things he desperately left behind, so as not to cause any trouble. After all, in the post-white mist era, there is too much fog. What exactly she did back then, no one knows. Hearing this, everyone nodded. Immediately, they all headed towards the small mountain village. Soon, what happened in Tianai province spread throughout the world. Great earthquake in the north. All the geniuses are dead, something strange happened in Tianai mountain, and there are corpse fragments of strange creatures at the scene. The martial arts gold medal list disappeared, and no one knows where it went. News is flying everywhere. How is it possible? You need to know that so many forces from the six realms are coming this time, and even several masters from the six realms are dispatched. Don't mention it. The memories of those masters of the sixth realm have been cut off by unknown entities. No one knows what happened. You are wrong. Not all memories were chopped off. They left some memories behind. There are rumors that the 7-star elixir that was previously auctioned by Genchi Pavilion was bullshit. What? Real or fake? Shit. The northern border was in chaos after this battle. Genchi Pavilion. Pavilion Master, we have already checked. Everyone has indeed forgotten what happened in Tianai Mountain. Han He stood in front of Yu Linglong, his face extremely ugly, and said. The other news is also true. That 7-star elixir, is really, shit. He lowered his head, not daring to look at Yu Linglong. As for Yu Linglong, her pretty face seemed to be frozen at this moment. She was shocked, her beautiful eyes looked disgusting and complicated. Those guys actually sell dog shit? It's really too much. However, she took a deep breath and said, "Block that rumor to me. Remember, what we auction at Genshi Pavilion are elixirs, and there are no dog residues." She didn't want to say that vulgar word, so she used guyi instead of guyi. Hearing this, Han He nodded and said, "The villain understands. If it is admitted that Genshi Pavilion has auctioned dog shit, then Genshi Pavilion will become a complete laughing stock and the business will be affected. Therefore, even if you really know that the thing is a dog, you can only hold your nose and deny it. Similarly, the major forces will also not admit it. Because, this is related to face. At the same time, the southern region of Wuhuang realm. In a vast floating space, endless avenue brands and runes flicker, making this place sacred and secretive. The golden chains of martial arts order are intertwined, and this space seems to have an ocean of martial arts. And in the middle of the ocean of true martial arts, there is actually a round stone. On the stone, 5 small corners were missing. My clone is missing a link. Suddenly, in the sea of martial arts, there seemed to be a voice among the round stones. Who can erase my clone? Didn't the strange spirits in the north be suppressed? The voice whispered. A great chaos is about to arise, my flesh and blood body, the most powerful martial art, has been forged, but it still lacks a medicine. Only by getting the medicine from my master's past can I truly follow his ancient path. In the South China Sea, the aura of the martial arts Tianxin Lotus is leaking out more and more obviously. I have to recall the other 4 clones first. As soon as the round stone was mentioned, the chain of martial arts order seemed to travel through the space of heaven and earth. Immediately afterwards, the Wuhuang world was shaken. What's going on, martial arts gold ranking, are you leaving quickly? In the West Desert, somewhere over the Black Desert, the martial arts gold list that attracted much attention from the world has disappeared. Sir, this is bad. Something big has happened. In a certain secret palace in Middle-earth, a young man hurried over and said, "The martial arts gold list disappeared." Hearing this, the young man who was cultivating in the secret palace opened his eyes. The martial arts gold list has disappeared. He thought for a moment and said, "Immediately contact Sen Ming and others and go to the other 4 regions to check the situation." The young man left immediately. The young man was the only one left in the secret palace. He calmly picked up the half bottle of burnt yellow liquid at his hand. "It's good stuff, but when I drink it, I get really angry." The young master whispered and said, "That's all, I'll bear it for the sake of Wu Zun's inheritance." He pinched his nose and did it. Soon, the news swept the world, and everyone was shocked. The martial arts gold lists from Middle-earth, Eastern Wasteland, Western Desert, and Southern Territory all disappeared. This triggered a tsunami. It should be noted that everyone in the world has been waiting for the martial arts gold list, but now it has disappeared. Who can not be surprised? However, just when everyone was speculating, somewhere over a sea cliff in the southern region, a shocking divine sign crossed the sky, bringing with it the true meaning of martial arts. When that divine list appeared, the entire Wuhuang world felt it. All living creatures feel an inexplicable calling. Is this, the martial master list appearing? Yes, the aura of the Wuzhenbang. Is the Wuzhenbang actually going to appear in this life? Quickly, rush to the southern territory, where the martial master list will appear. The world was shocked, and almost all sects, forces, geniuses, etc. immediately stood up and headed towards the southern territory non-stop. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 783. The martial arts list is shocking. The 5 regions of Wuhuang realm were all shocked. It should be noted that the Xuanhuan has only appeared 2 or 3 times since ancient times. Martial arts geniuses have a chance to be inherited from the martial arts gold list, but only the geniuses among geniuses have the chance to awaken the martial arts list. In the world of martial arts, there is some kind of legend that claims that the 5 martial arts golden list is actually just a projection or clone of the martial master list. The real martial master list contains the highest martial arts and methods. Now that the 5 martial arts gold lists have disappeared, the martial arts list has appeared, causing a huge shock. Everyone is paying attention. Rush to the Southern Territory immediately. If you get one of the methods on the martial master list, it will be shocking. In the north, many 6 border forces such as Ares Academy and Balan Dynasty set out immediately. Xuanhuan, we must get it. In West Desert, Xuanhuan Palace, a middle-aged man spoke in a deep voice. In the eastern wasteland, a giant beast roared, and a group of mammoths rushed out of the wilderness. The people from the beast control sect are heading towards the Southern Territory, they must be chasing the martial master list. The roar of the beasts attracted attention. Meanwhile, Middle-earth. Get up with me. I will go to the southern region. The Gongzi followed by Senming and others walked out of a secret palace. His mouth was a little blistered, and he really got angry after drinking the elixir, and he wouldn't get better for a while. Sir, I have already contacted you about the teleportation array that will arrive directly at the Tianese Peninsula. An old man stepped forward and spoke respectfully. The golden list of martial arts appeared in the Southern Territory, and its more precise location was the Tianese Peninsula. No need, just go to the Southern Territory. Young master looked at him firmly and said, after I set foot on the land of the Southern Territory, I will fight all the way there. Beat all the geniuses of my generation and prove to the martial lord list that I am the strongest and qualified to receive all the martial lord's inheritance. He opened his mouth and was furious. The Xuanhuan really appeared. The Chen clan in Middle-earth is a great clan. In the clan hall, an old man looks solemn. The ancestor of my clan once obtained the skills on the martial master list, which created the supreme glory of our clan. His old man was even able to enter the true ancestor realm. In this life, our Chen clan must get it again. The ultimate holy land. In the highest hall of the holy land, a plaque hangs high. The ultimate in martial arts. These 4 words were left behind by the ancestor of the supreme holy land when he left for the true ancestor realm 1,000 years ago. The supreme ancestor also obtained the Dharma on the martial master list. The martial master list reappears, all geniuses, set off immediately. In the Holy Land, an order came out. The Chen clan and the Supreme Holy Land, these 2 forces are the real giants in the entire Wuhuang world. The only 7 realm forces. The movement of these 2 forces will tug at the heartstrings of all parties. Master Qi, the martial master list has appeared. At this moment, somewhere in a secret place, He Luo excitedly reported to Zhao Jixiao, saying, "We made it." Zhao Jixiao smiled slightly and said, "The martial master list is related to the martial master of the past. The appearance of this thing shows that we are one step closer to that evil corpse. That big shot will arrive in Wuhuang realm soon. We are just in time to handle this matter and make him happy." He thought for a moment and said, "The martial master list appears in the Southern Territory. It seems that the evil corpse may also be in the Southern Territory. Let's go to the Southern Territory. Bring Wu Qi and Ao Wushuan with you. The main sect of the Tomb Keeper should not know about Wu Qi's rebellion, so he is still useful." The visitor organization also stood up. And at this moment, Southern Territory. After countless people set foot on the Southern Territory, they headed towards a city on the edge of the Southern Territory. Zhenhai City. According to more detailed information, after Xuanhuan appeared in the Southern Territory, it passed over Zhenhai City. That city suddenly attracted the attention of the world. Zhenhai City is built on the famous Tianese Peninsula, which extends from the land and directly faces the sea. The South China Sea in Wuhuang is surrounded by vast smoke and waves all year round, and no one can see the scene clearly on the sea. There are endless legends about the South China Sea. Some people say that the South China Sea suppresses the great demons of the pre-White Mist era, and some say that it is the burial place of the unparalleled powerful. There were many strong men who wanted to explore the South China Sea, but they all failed. Because the endless winding Great Wall of Zhenhai City contains a mysterious barrier that separates the South China Sea from the Wuhuangji continent. The power of the vast South China Sea cannot invade the continent of Wuhuang realm, and the people on the continent cannot take a step toward the sea. So close to each other, so far away, forever separated. At this moment, Zhenhai City. An old man stood on the ancient Great Wall built near the coast, looking at the unknown sea ahead, with a trace of emotion in his eyes. He is the leader of the Tomb Keeper clan, Wu Zhenhai. Clan leader, all parties are coming towards Zhenhai City. A middle-aged man came from behind and said, "The appearance of the martial master list is a blessing or a curse." Wu Zhenhai was silent for a long time and then said, "It's going to change. We, the grave keepers, just have to do our duty. Keep this sea tomb well. It's not our turn to worry about the collapse of the earth. The important people will take care of it." There was some relief in his old eyes. Hearing this, the middle-aged man couldn't help but nodded. After hesitating for a moment, he continued. "Something may have happened over there in the dead man's wasteland in the north. A few days ago, many masters' soul lamps went out. Wahan Hadeo. Is your son, okay?" The middle-aged man shook his head and said, "Xiaokan is still alive, and Wu Song and Wu Qi's soul lanterns are still on. Thinking about it, it shouldn't be a big problem." This middle-aged man is clearly Wu Xiaokan's father, Wu Mingshan. Wu Zhenhai nodded and said, "That's good. Be prepared to open the door to welcome guests. When all parties come, we gravekeepers cannot keep them away." The two of them immediately turned around and left, descending the Great Wall. Report. At this time, a voice came and said, "Reporting to the clan leader, Wu Qi from the Northern Territory has arrived, asking to see you and brother Wu Mingshan." And at this moment, Long Xuanhuan and others finally returned to the small mountain village. They headed towards Wuorxianting. In the small courtyard, many disciples are practicing diligently. Ever since Li Fan taught them the Chaos Realm techniques, their progress has been rapid. Nanfan studied the first song of the eternal 10 tones, mountains, and flowing waters, and it was already very effective. A few days ago, a divine rainbow condensed in the chaotic spiritual spring in Danshan, entering the realm of spiritual rainbow. 3 realms. Other disciples such as Zi Ling, Du Guyuking, and Zhang Li, as well as Xianning, Gong Ya, and Yun 11, also made breakthroughs. Winter is coming soon, and the yellow leaves of the peach trees are falling. Lu Rang's coke is broken, so he collects all the peach tree leaves. Is Sister Tao transforming? Lu Rang was confused because he found that the peach leaves on the ground did not retain much divinity. But, it's enough for him. He gnawed a few of these peach leaves when he had nothing to do. In addition, he also used them to feed the small animals in the yard, such as the little golden cow, the little unicorn, the little turtle, etc. They all ate them with great joy, even the non-vegetarians. Serious, all came over and chewed. The realm of this group of small animals has already broken into the realm of chaos. Moreover, these little animals now gather in small groups from time to time, gathering under peach trees, beside chickens, and by ponds, as if listening to a lecture. Of course, Li Fan only found it interesting. "Master, the rice wine is warm." Gong Ya came up with a pot of hot wine and filled a cup for Li Fanzhen. Li Fan drank rice wine and felt the wine enter his stomach, driving away the cold of late autumn. Meow meow. Xiaobai clingingly retracted into Li Fan's robe, exposed his head, and licked the rice wine Li Fan fed him with his pink and tender tongue. "Big devil, come on, it's your turn to play chess." Yongzi spoke to Li Fan. She and Li Fan were playing chess, and the chess pieces were filled with chess pieces. Whenever this happens, even Zhang Li will come over and watch. Because Yongzi has learned so many Tao, when she plays chess, she often not only sticks to the chess Tao, but also displays ideas from other Tao. This is of great reference significance to Zhang Li. Li Fan smiled. Yongzi had made rapid progress and was extremely talented in chess. He was also quite happy. Playing chess with Yongzi, the knock on the door has already sounded. "Master, we are back." Long Xuanhuan and others pushed open the door and entered. "Came back." Li Fan smiled. Long Xuanhuan and the others were out for a long time this time, which made Li Fan quite worried. After all, Long Xuanhuan was so naive that he went to fight and got a bow embryo, which is not reliable no matter how you look at it. Now it seems that he was not injured at all, which is good. "Master, this disciple went out and found traces of rare plants." Long Xuanhuan reported directly. Hearing this, Li Fan couldn't help but feel happy. "Rare plant? Isn't that the last one? Has the hope of breaking through the situation finally come?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 784. Little wolf, little horse, little blackfish, little golden cow, little red bird, little monkey, little turtle, little unicorn, little fox, 9 kinds of rare animals are all here. There are 8 types in total: divine blood grass, original divine grape, immortal tree, molten gold tree, Bodhi tree, 9-turn precious bamboo, unicorn tree, and 2-leaf grass. Only the last rare plant remains. Thinking of this, Li Fan felt that he finally had hope in his heart. There's only one left. If you collect the last one, you can pass the Qi refining period. The next level, foundation building. After reaching this state, in the world of cultivation, it is finally not considered the lowest level. Li Fan knew that generally speaking, people in the Golden Core stage were considered masters, Nascent Soul stage were the real bosses, and Mahayana stage, that was simply unthinkable. And I am about to build a foundation. Foundation building, in ordinary sex, it's considered middle level, right? He couldn't help but take a deep breath and warned himself, hold on. Wait, when the day comes when you become a golden elixir level boss, the world will understand that there is also a master hiding in this humble mountain village. Practice quietly and then surprise everyone. Any clues? Where are they? Li Fan couldn't help but ask. Long Xuanhuan said. Master, the last rare plant is the lotus. Grown in the South China Sea. Li Fan couldn't help but be surprised when he heard this. It is indeed a rare plant, a lotus growing in the sea? Still, I have never seen it before. However, the South China Sea sounds very far away. Let's set off again tomorrow. I'll cook you a delicious meal tonight. Gong Ya, take out all the meat from the cold box. It's been a long time since I had a good meal of meat. Li Fan was in a good mood and spoke immediately. Hearing this, many disciples shouted with joy. In the evening, Li Fan cooked the food himself, while Yun 11 and Gong Ya helped. While Li Fan was cooking, Wu Dade, Long Xuanhuan, Qing Chen, and the big black dog walked over and surrounded Zhang Li's turtle. The little turtle was slowly eating the fallen leaves of the peach tree. When he saw this, he immediately shrank his head and said, "You, what do you want to do to Mr. Turtle?" It was very vigilant and said, "Hey, we two brothers don't want to cheat on each other. The big black dog said coldly. Don't worry, I won't trick you. There is something for you to identify. With that said, they took out the ancient animal skin that they had photographed in Genshi Pavilion. When the little turtle saw the ancient animal skin, he was stunned and said, No. This thing, why does it look so familiar? It's a little confused. The Xuanhuan cipher text should have been written by you, before you lost your memory. The big black dog continued. Even if you lose your memory and can't remember it, you should still be able to read it. Quickly recognize it. The little turtle nodded and said, I understand, I can understand it. It immediately lowered its head and began to carefully identify the turtle paw prints on the animal skin. At this moment, everyone gathered around curiously. Even the peach tree had a branch hanging down, an old hen raised its eyes as if waiting, and a golden carp clung to the water as if listening. The little turtle looked at the ancient animal skin and read word by word. Something bad is going on. She cut herself off. As soon as these two sentences came out, everyone was shocked. Who? Who beheaded himself? Quick, keep talking. The big black dog was anxious. The little turtle continued. At the end of the white fog is gray fog. 12 desperate bets, exchange for 12 strong men to suppress 12 evil corpses and maintain peace for a lifetime. I'm worried that one has become a ghost. After it finished reading, it raised its head, with some hair in its eyes, and said, I've finished reading. It looked at Daihei and said, Brother Daihei, what's going on? Why do I feel so upset, uneasy? Upon hearing this, everyone looked at each other in shock. The end of the white fog is gray fog. She beheaded herself. 12 desperate bets, in exchange for 12 strong men to suppress 12 evil corpses and maintain peace for a lifetime. That one has become a ghost. These words, every time you think about them carefully, make your hair stand on end. Because they all already understood that the one that many strong men were referring to in the pre-White Mist era. It's very possible that he is the master. However, the cipher text left by the turtle said that that person has become a ghost. How can this not be shocking? No. Master can never be a ghost. Nanfan spoke confidently. Yes, if Master is really that, then what is said in this letter is not true. Master is invincible. A group of disciples couldn't help but shake their heads. They didn't believe what the turtle said. Because, to them, Master is an invincible belief. Sister Tao. The big black dog looked towards the peach tree with some anxiety. It is also a little unsure and is asking Sister Tao to clarify its doubts. However, there was only a clear and calm voice that sounded in everyone's minds. The writings of the heavens throughout the ages must not touch the Master. Just this word. Wow, yes, the Master's realm has long been unwritable and unexplorable. Unless the owner writes it himself, who in the world can leave words related to him? And what kind of words can carry that kind of power? Xuanhuan cipher text is not possible. Hearing this, the big black dog immediately felt relieved and said firmly. The person written on this animal skin is definitely not the owner. It's because this emperor's situation has become too small. Everyone couldn't help but nod when they heard this. Brother Daihei, then who will be the one I wrote about? The little turtle asked uneasily. It's very simple. You saw another ghost and thought it was the master. The big black dog made a guess. After everyone heard this, they all felt that, it should be like this. The turtle must have seen something unclean back then, which made it mistakenly think it was that person. Then what do the other words mean? Wu Dade scratched his head, confused. Everyone was puzzled. But this time, Dosha did not answer any more. The chickens also pecked at the corn on the ground as usual, and the koi fish resumed swimming. She should have saved Wogui back then. The big black dog whispered to himself. I was rescued by her, and the scene I saw before I lost my memory should be related to her. She cut herself off. The 12 bet? Did she make a bet with someone else? The 12 evil corpses, this may have something to do with the deaths of the 10 deities in their previous lives? After thinking about it, the big black dog became angry and said, "Wow, this emperor's dog's head is so big. You are a damn turtle. You didn't write a suicide note clearly. Why don't you leave it here for everyone to guess?" Hearing this, the turtle also scratched its head with its claws and said, "I don't know, maybe I was almost dying at the time, so I could only leave the most critical information." The turtle has a point. At this time, Qing Chen opened his mouth and said, "The chaos ancestral realm, the fog shrouded in the post-white fog era, must be related to the content written above. Tomorrow I will take Oogway and go on a trip with senior brother Long. Maybe we can gain something, maybe." Hearing this, everyone nodded. "Now, we can only take one step at a time. It's time to eat." At this time, in the kitchen, Li Fan walked out with 2 plates of food, followed closely by Yun 11 and Gong Yat. Immediately, many disciples put aside the turtle riddle, sat around and started eating. Today's meal is very rich, with many kinds of meat and hard vegetables. In the small courtyard, there was laughter and laughter. As night falls, it's late night. Li Fan and his disciples were already asleep. The cool evening breeze blew through, and in the empty courtyard, the old hen's voice sounded. She followed in her master's footsteps and took that step. Behead the white mist body and embark on the grey mist road, she created the 9 methods. I think she must have succeeded. The 12 strong men suppressing the 12 evil corpses, should be the backup she left behind when she left the ancestral world. The branches of the peach tree drooped lightly and he said, "Beyond the ancestral realm, there are many curtains. I have noticed many scarlet ghost eyes, watching for countless epochs. The disaster she faced in the past was more difficult than we imagined. The 4 regions and 8 deserts form the formation, and the 12 strong men form the city, protecting the chaos ancestral realm and waiting for the master's return. If she hadn't prevented that catastrophe back then, and hadn't left a light for the master to return to, maybe the master would have really." The old hen was silent for a long time and said, "When the curtain opens, war may have come." Beside the pond, the dragon shadow shook the sky, and a sacred dragon roared. "My dragon clan has been preparing for the war for a long time. The fighting spirit is shocking. Don't yell every time, it makes you look stupid." Sister Tao opened her mouth, and there seemed to be some disgust in her words, saying, "A friendly reminder, Master, they don't have much meat left in the cold box." The real dragon was startled for a moment, then submerged into the water. The moonlight is like water, and the small courtyard is quiet. At the same time, martial wilderness world. Somewhere in the eastern wasteland, a place with rolling mountains and rivers. This place is extremely terrifying, exuding a strong forbidden atmosphere. At the entrance to this forbidden land, on a huge stone that reaches the sky, 3 ancient characters are vaguely written. Wuhuangjin. Since ancient times, Wuhuang Forbidden City has been a forbidden area in the Wuhuang realm. No one dares to set foot. However, a month ago, there was a sarcophagus that flew from the sky and landed on the highest peak of Wuhuang Forbidden City. In Wuhuang Forbidden City, countless Huang slaves were picking up the precious medicines in the Forbidden Land and sending them to the mountain where the sarcophagus was located. Under the mountain peak, countless powerful desolate slaves knelt deeply and left immediately. Then, 2 girls came down from the mountain peak and took away the forbidden medicine. "Sister Ling who is that person in the coffin? Why did he give us so many precious medicines?" one of the girls asked curiously. Another girl in a long skirt like fire shook her head and said, "Have no idea. But you and I don't need to ask any more questions. That person obviously has an old relationship with Senior Li, and he should be so kind to us because of his kindness to those two paintings. These two girls were clearly Mu Jianing and Huo Ling. Since the underworld entered the human world, they had been waiting for the small mountain village to appear. Later, in the Yangjian Divine Realm, they heard the news of the Wild Sky Alliance. On their way there, the heretics were born, and the Yangtze God Emperor and Xiao Tiandao failed in their battle with the heretics. At that time, they were planning to use the White Tiger Emperor's peak map given by Senior Li to help Yangtze God Emperor and others, but the sarcophagus was triggered. The paintings painted by Senior Li were taken away by the being in the coffin, and the two of them, as well as the Yangtze Divine Emperor, were swept to the Chaos Ancestral Realm and appeared in the Wuhuang Forbidden City. During this time, they have become accustomed to this kind of life. Guarding around the sarcophagus, the Huang slaves in the Wuhuang Forbidden City would bring many precious medicines for them to practice. At the same time, scriptures would occasionally appear in the coffin for them to study. I don't know when I will see Senior Li again, Sister Nanfan and the others. Mu Jianing sighed slightly, her beautiful eyes filled with longing. They took the elixir and returned to the mountain peak. The sarcophagus stood on top, and Yang Chu stood silently on the side, about 10 steps away, respectfully and solemnly like this every day. Senior, I've got the precious medicine back. Please take it quickly. Mu Jianing spoke to Yang Chu. Yang Chu nodded and said, "Good." After saying that, he bowed 3 times and bowed 9 times to the sarcophagus. After that, he came over and began to absorb the precious medicine. Back then, God Emperor Yang Chu was a veteran who followed the 10 spirits and others to the Yang realm. Later, his old friend died. In order to hide in the Yang realm and protect the Pure Land and Fire, Yang Chu killed himself and killed the cultivators in the realm of chaos. 4. Now, his cultivation has entered chaos again and he is embarking on the path of cultivation again. He is equivalent to living a second life, and the practice in this life is far more powerful than the previous one. The 3 of them were operating the Xiangong in silence. However, at this moment, deep in the forbidden area, a voice sounded. "Haha, you made a bet with me in the past, and I will guard the evil corpse for you until someone comes in the future to show me the way forward. Now that we have entered a time of great change, I am afraid there is no such person as you mentioned in the future. Even the medicine he left at sea will be occupied and refined by the grey mist creatures." He died. The forbidden area was restless, as if some kind of terrifying existence was about to come out. A big hand reached towards the sarcophagus on the mountain peak. However, there was only a stream of chi falling from the sarcophagus. In an instant, the big hand was crushed. The terrifying existence underground roared unwillingly and said, "Damn it, you're still so strong. For the sake of your big fist, I will wait a few more days. If by that time, no one will come to connect the broken path for me, I will slaughter the entire ancestral world. Good night." Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 785. The autumn sunshine, with some laziness and sparseness, flows into the small courtyard along with the breeze. Li Fan lazily got up. Lifting the quilt, he saw that Xiaobai was still sleeping. He gently scratched Xiaobai's pink nose, then got dressed, opened the door and walked out. The disciples have already gotten up and are doing their own things. The sound of Xuanhuan's catchy reading sounded in the courtyard, making people feel comfortable. Although there are many books, she is methodical and absorbs the knowledge in the books bit by bit, which makes Li Fan very happy. There are really very few children who can have this kind of character. "Master, wash your face." Bai Qian came over with hot water. After Li Fan washed his face, she obediently handed him a towel. After washing her face, Gong Ya served boiled eggs and lean meat porridge. This was how the unpretentious day began. "Master, I want to leave for the South China Sea today. Long Xuanhuan spoke. Li Fan nodded and said. It's better to go early. Well, bring a basin or something. Since it is a lotus, when the time comes to transplant it, it must be in the water. Therefore, you need to bring a container or something to put the lotus flowers in and transplant them back to the courtyard. Long Xuanhuan nodded. He knew that since the master took the initiative to arrange it, he must have some intention. He immediately searched for it and finally found an abandoned wooden basin in the woodpile. Li Fan was speechless when he saw this. This disciple is too shabby. How to get a waste wooden basin? However, the wooden basin could barely hold water, so he didn't bother to take care of it. Dade, please continue to accompany your Xuanhuan. Li Fan spoke. As he said this, he also felt in his heart that Dade was really hard-working. Whenever anything happened, he would always take the lead with his dog. Thinking of this, Li Fan couldn't help but said. When you come back, Master will let the geese out and raise them for you. After all, Li Fan was worried that the great virtue would fall behind in his studies if he went out often. When the great virtue heard this, he was startled for a moment, and he was a little scared. Being bitten by a dog, being burned by the real fire of a phoenix, enough is enough. If there are a few more geese, how can we live like this? However, he still nodded with difficulty and said. Okay, Master. At this moment, Zhang Li also stood up and said. Master, disciple, go with senior brother Long. He was going to take the turtle out to see if he could gain anything. Li Fan nodded and said. Yeah, okay. More people take care of each other. Immediately, Long Xuanhuan, Zhang Li, Wu Dade, as well as the big black dog and the little turtle stood up and prepared to leave. Correct. At this time, Li Fan suddenly remembered something again and said. Remember to go to the second uncle's house and find a fishing net to take with you. Since we're going to the beach, let's get some seafood back to try. It just so happens that we don't have much meat at home. Since Li Fan came to this world, he has never eaten seafood seriously. The main thing is that he has been living in a mountainous area and has no chance to even be close to the sea or rivers. Therefore, Li Fan did not prepare any fishing nets, and there were only those at the bottom of the box at the second uncle's house, so Li Fan asked them to get them from the second uncle. Hearing this, a group of disciples were quite excited. Catch seafood. Yun 11's eyes suddenly lit up. It sounds like fun, junior brother Zhang Li, I like to eat lobster, bring me more. Zi Ling stopped the brush in her hand and spoke expectantly. Turbo fish, swimming crab, don't forget them. 60s, conches, well, if there are mermaids, bring a few more. Everyone immediately became lively and gave instructions. Long Xuanhuan couldn't help but be startled for a moment, catching seafood. The master specifically ordered this. Why did he feel that there might be a lot of big stuff in the sea this time? I'm afraid, we will encounter many big creatures. Okay, let's do our best. They spoke and immediately said goodbye to Li Fan and left. After walking out of the small courtyard, Long Xuanhuan and the others went directly to the second uncle's house. The second uncle was sitting under his gourd shed, drinking rice wine and admiring the gourds on the shelf. Seeing the three of them, the second uncle was very happy and said. Great master, why are you here? Come here and sit down. Let's have a drink with the second uncle. I'll kill the chicken right away. Hearing this, Long Xuanhuan and others all smiled. Second uncle, no need. We are going to the beach this time as ordered by our teacher. Master said, let us borrow your fishing net and bring some seafood back to the village. When the second uncle heard this, he was quite happy and said. Go to the beach. It's great to go to the beach. Come on, the second uncle will find you a fishing net. He led several people and dug out a dusty fishing net from the debris pile at home. I haven't fished for many years, fortunately it's not broken yet and can be used. The second uncle smiled, patted the fishing net, handed it to Long Xuanhuan and said, "This is the fishing net that the second uncle made with my own hands when I was young. At that time, why didn't your second uncle eat it?" His old eyes were full of emotion. Zhongli was surprised and said, "Second uncle, did you catch fish when you were young?" The second uncle smiled and said, "Yes, I liked to catch big fish back then." "Well, your second uncle and I caught all the fish in many places. This fishing net is also easy to use. With one net, I can catch all the fish in a pond." However, listening to the second uncle's simple and plain narration, Long Xuanhuan and Zhongli looked at each other. How do they feel that this big fish is not an ordinary big fish? "This pond is no ordinary pond," Wu Dade said carelessly. "Second uncle, don't worry, we will definitely let you taste like you were young this time. Uncle, let's go first. Let's have dinner together later." However, they did not delay, took the fishing net, got up and left. Long Xuanhuan first went to Oath-Keeping Valley. Wu Xiaoqin and Xian King I had already distributed the things they had brought back from the outside world to their clansmen. Billions of resources purchased from Genshi Pavilion, plus tens of billions of source stones. Moreover, there is an extra fist-sized stone in the village. That is the body of the Northern Martial Arts Golden List, which contains many martial arts. Today's Oath Keepers have an amazing background. Not weaker than any 6 realm forces. Wu Xiaoqin and Xian King I followed Long Xuanhuan and others to the southern territory. Out of the dead. The dead are in the far north. We need to go to Zhenhai City in the far south of the southern region. It will take a very long time, Brother Long, let's go find the teleportation array, right? Wu Xiaoqin suggested bravely, while looking at the big black dog fearfully. I really don't dare to let the big black dog take action again. But, at this time, the turtle on Zhongli's shoulder stood up directly, put his hands on his hips, raised his head and said, "Teleportation array? Are you still looking for it? Do you think this turtle doesn't exist? Bring the source stone, I'll show you what a heaven-defying teleportation array is." Hearing this, Xian King I and Wu Xiaoqin looked at Wu Gui with some fear. "Gigi, are you reliable?" Long Xuanhuan couldn't help but ask questions. The big black dog was really scared of him before. "Don't worry, this turtle's formation is the second in the universe." After saying that, it waved its claws, and the pieces of origin stone immediately gathered into a formation. "Dehei, study hard." It gave the big black dog a proud look. Soon, the formation formed by the origin stone flashed with light. The group left from where they were. Now, Southern Territory. Almost all the people from all major regions have arrived at Tianese Peninsula and are heading towards Zhenhai City. And at this moment, in Zhenhai City, what? Wu Song betrayed his tribe and led people to dig up a large tomb in the wasteland of the dead. Clan leader Wu Zhenhai was shocked when he heard Wu Qi's report. "Impossible." Wu Mingshan spoke directly and said firmly. "Wu Song is loyal and will never break his oath." However, Wu Qi said, "Qi clan chief, brother Mingshan, it's absolutely true. This is evidence that Wu Song broke his oath." Wu Qi stepped forward and handed over a brocade box. Wu Mingshan's face was gloomy, he took the brocade box and opened it immediately. Wu Zhenhai also stepped forward to take a closer look. However, in the brocade box, a wisp of blue smoke instantly rose. Not good. Wu Mingshan's expression changed and he hurriedly threw the brocade box out, but the blue smoke had already entered his body. He and Wu Zhenhai both felt instantly, their bodies were numb, and they were unable to use any energy. "This is poison." Wu Zhenhai pointed at Wu Qi and said, "You, Why is this? Wu Mingshan fell to the ground, his eyes filled with anger, and he said, "He is the real traitor." But Wu Qi smiled slightly and said, "Congratulations, you got it? Too bad it's too late." He walked up and said, "Tell me, how to open the Jinhai Great Wall barrier?" He asked. The explorers have sneaked into Jinhai City and inspected the Great Wall. However, there is no way to open the barrier as long as it is there, and even the strong ones among the visitors are unable to do anything. The Tombkeeper clan, who guard the Sea Tomb, definitely know the boundaries best. Therefore, He Luo and others arranged for Wu Qi to put on this good show. Hearing this, Wu Jinhai burst out laughing, "Ha ha, ha 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 ha." "Why are you laughing?" Wu Qi shouted angrily. Wu Qi, I laugh at you for being stupid." Wu Jinhai opened his mouth and said, "So what if I tell you? It seems that opening the barrier of the Great Wall is not a secret at all. When the person who takes the oath comes out, the barrier can be broken, and the Sea Tomb can be reopened. This is the ancestral teaching. You want to break the barrier? Ha 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 ha, you have to find the person who takes the oath first." His old eyes were filled with sarcasm. Wu Qi was destined to be unable to achieve his goal. They have been guarding the tomb for generations, waiting for the so-called person who should answer the oath, but for millions of years, has there ever been a so-called person who should answer the oath? In a sense, the clan has long regarded the so-called people who swore an oath as mythical legends. If you can find someone who can take the oath, haha, you don't have to betray the clan, so what if the clan leader becomes you? Wu Jinhai spoke. Hearing this, Wu Qi was startled. The one who takes the oath? What to do? You don't need to worry about whether I can find it or not. When Wu Qi spoke, he immediately put Wu Mingshan and Wu Jinhai under house arrest. Then, he entered another hall. In this hall, Zhao Jixiao was sitting upright, He Luo was standing next to him, and there was another person that Wu Qi hated very much, Ao Wushuan. Wu Qi explained the situation again, with an ugly expression on his face, and said, "My lord, the person who takes the oath is like looking for a needle in a haystack." He Luo and others also frowned. Looking for a needle in a haystack. Zhao Jixiao narrowed his eyes and said, "Even if you are looking for a needle in a haystack, you have to find it for me. Stay still and wait. Today is in a world of great changes. If the person you gravekeepers call the person who swore an oath really exists, this life, it should also appear. At the same time. Southern region, Qingtai Prefecture. Who are you exactly? So powerful, why have I never heard of your reputation before? Why are you sniping at me?" A group of martial arts geniuses all fell to the ground, wailing. Among them, a young man in white robes, with a very elegant temperament, stood with his hands behind his back, like a proud man of heaven. The only thing that didn't quite match was that there were a lot of blisters on the corners of his mouth. "Destroys the beauty. You may honor my name." "Yang Tian." The young man in white robe spoke sternly. Since he arrived in the southern territory, he has been fighting like this all the way. "How long is it until Jinhai City?" Looking up to the sky and asking. Beside me, an old man answered. "There's a state in the middle." The young man in white robe nodded and said, "I've defeated hundreds of people along the way, but it's not enough. I'm going to defeat them all. I want to follow the path of the martial lord and achieve invincibility." He looked up to the sky and shouted, his will almost tearing the sky apart. Then, the sky cracked. In the sky, several figures suddenly appeared directly and crashed down from above. Yang Tian was startled for a moment, and before he could get out of the way, he was hit directly. Grass. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 786. The space was suddenly torn apart, and several figures fell out of the space and hit the ground. Where is this? Wu Xiaoqan and Xian King I were a little confused. I finally understand. I really didn't blame Dehe last time. Long Zixuan stood up and couldn't help but sigh. Dehe learned the formation from Wu Gui, and it was fundamentally crooked. Turtle, you are so unreliable, you made us all fall out of space, from such a high distance, don't you know how much my butt hurts when I fall? Wu Date couldn't help but speak. Suddenly, he felt something and couldn't help but say, "Hey, why doesn't it feel very painful?" As soon as he finished speaking, a trembling curse came from under his butt. "Damn you fat man, you're sitting on me, get up and get out." Wu Date was shocked when he heard this voice. He looked down and sure enough, there was a young man in white robe lying spread out under his butt. At this moment, the other party was trying hard to get up, but was suppressed by Wu Date and couldn't move at all. His mouth and nose were bleeding. Why is there someone?" Wu Date hurriedly stood up and said with a puzzled look on his face. "Brother, why did you get under my ass?" Hearing this, Yang Tian, who was already struggling to get up, became even more furious. His chest trembled and he vomited blood. He lay on the ground unable to get up. "Master! Master!" All around, Yang Tian's followers were shocked and hurriedly gathered around to help Yang Tian up. "Sir, are you okay?" His protector spoke hurriedly, checked Yang Tian's condition, and couldn't help being shocked. "Sir, many of your ribs were broken by others." When Yang Tian heard this, he became even more sad and angry. He pointed at Wu Date and others and said, "You, who are you? Why, sneak attack on me?" Hearing this, Long Zixuan and others had complicated expressions, and they didn't know how to explain it. Wu Date said, "Who sneaks up on you? This fat man is called the arrival of the great emperor, blessing the world. You should be the first person to sit down with me, you should be proud. Young man, cherish this great opportunity. If you survive the catastrophe, you will be blessed later." Yang Tian was originally extremely sad and angry, so angry that he almost killed someone. However, when he heard Wu Date's words, he was suddenly startled. The arrival of the great emperor, blessing the world? This sentence, how is it so familiar? In his heart, he suddenly remembered an ancient history recorded in ancient books of his clan. The Yang family has a very high status in the Guardian organization. It is a family that survived the disaster in the pre-White Mist era. It is recorded in the ancestral classics that the first-generation ancestor of the Yang family, Yang Daomei, who was once the most powerful genius, was born with a Taoist body that was unparalleled in the world. As a result, when Yang Daomei was young, he was suppressed by a powerful person with his buttocks. When the most powerful man suppressed the ancestor, he said 8 words. "The emperor has come and blessed the world." At the same time, the most powerful man once told the old man that if he survives a catastrophe, he will be blessed later. As a result, since then, the ancestor of their Yang family has embarked on a path of no return. Bad luck. As if offending the god of plague, according to records, the ancestor of their Yang family has been unlucky all his life. When he enters an ancient tomb, he can be possessed by hundreds of ghosts, he can practice evil dozens of times in a day, he can explore forbidden areas and finally become a demon. People crawled out. As a result, his body was covered with bruises and bruises, he was almost reduced to scum many times, and he was constantly on the verge of death, but the result was that he would never die. His life was full of ups and downs, but in the end he achieved immortality. Their clan has survived the calamity of the pre-White Mist era and survived into the post-White Mist era, becoming one of the most important clans in the Guardian organization. Yang Tian once heard from the elders in the clan that his ancestor was able to achieve immortality, but the cause and effect of that unparalleled powerful man were complicated and difficult to clarify. Therefore, Although being suppressed by someone's buttocks was a scandal, the clan still recorded it in detail. When the ancestor Yang Daomei was dying in his later years, it was said that he had tears in his eyes and recited the words "The Emperor is coming, blessing the world," and he died with tears in his eyes. It can be said that these 8 words have some special meaning to their Yang family. Moreover, because Yang Tian himself was also born with a Taoist body, the clan made him familiar with all the past of the first ancestor Yang Daomei, so that he could observe it more conveniently. Now, I heard the fat man in front of me say those 8 words. Could it be? He gasped inwardly. The identity of this fat man. Wrong. But he quickly realized that this fat man was definitely not related to the powerful man who suppressed his ancestors in the former White Mist era. Who are you? How dare you use allusions from my clan's ancestral scriptures to tease me? He shouted angrily in a deep voice. The clan code is top secret, and no one should know about it except for the most core figures in the clan. This damn fat man, obviously knew his identity, and deliberately attacked and then teased himself. The other party came prepared. Don't talk about martial ethics. Wu Dade was confused. What the hell? Ahem, young man, I'm warning you, don't touch porcelain. Fat Master accidentally injured you, but your life is not in danger, let's just say it. Goodbye. Wu Dade spoke and was about to leave. Yang Tian almost spit out another mouthful of blood. Damn it, did he accidentally hurt himself? He felt like his mentality was about to collapse. Surround him, I want to compete with him. Yang Tian clenched his fists and his eyes turned red. If he doesn't regain his face, how will he survive in the future? His defenders and others immediately surrounded him. However, beside Zhang Li, Little Turtle had already set up a teleportation array. It's done, this one will never yaw, let's go. The Little Turtle opened his mouth, and suddenly, the light flickered. Wu Dade and others immediately disappeared from where they were. Master, this. The protector looked at Yang Tian. They must be going to Zhenhai City to chase. Yang Tian spoke. Just now, this fat man actually acted to him the ancient events recorded in the ancestral scriptures, and even hurt him. I couldn't bear it. However, at the same time, he couldn't help but feel a little nervous in his heart. Like his ancestor, he was born with Taoism. When he was young, he was suppressed by someone with his buttocks. The person also said the same words. Could it be that the fate of the ancestor is repeating itself in his own body? Are you about to be plagued by bad luck and embark on a wandering road? No. He shook his head hastily. That damn fat man is deliberately destroying his Taoist heart. I'm going to kill you. He clenched his fists. Immediately, everyone also stood up and headed towards Zhenhai City. Now. Zhenhai City. The major forces from all sides have gathered. The 2 major 7th Realm forces in Middle-earth, the Chen clan and the Ultimate Holy Land, have arrived. The God of War Academy, Tai Ling sect, etc. from the north, as well as the Xuanhuan Palace of the West Desert, the Beast Control sect of the Eastern Wasteland, and the Nantian Dao sect of the Southern Territory, all came. The gate of Zhenhai City is wide open. Welcome everyone. Our clan leader and the clan leader's heir are both practicing hard in seclusion. I specially asked you to entertain you all. Wu Qi appeared on stage and led all major forces into the city. The explorers used sorcery to control the old patriarch Wu Zhenhai and the patriarch's successor Wu Mingshan to come forward and establish Wu Qi's identity in public. Wu Qi thus easily gained the trust of the Tomb Keeper and assumed great power in the clan. Clan Chief Chen, Holy Master Gao, everyone please come quickly. He led Chen Ao, the leader of the Chen clan, and Gao Yi, the Holy Lord of the Supreme Holy Land, inside, and the leaders of the other 6 realms forces also followed behind. He led everyone to a Taoist platform. Everyone, This Fang Dao Tai is one of the most mysterious places in our clan. On that day, the Wuzun Bang passed across the sky, and the Taoist platform felt it. If a true martial arts genius stands on this platform, he may attract the martial master list. Wu Qi smiled and spoke. There was a hint of waiting in his eyes. In fact, he didn't lie entirely. When the Wuzun Bang passed over Jinhai City, the platform was indeed moved. However, the reason why he asked everyone to stand up, was to find the person who should take the oath. This platform is the key to opening the barrier of Jinhai Great Wall. Only when the person who takes the oath appears on the platform can the barrier be opened. After hearing what he said, all the major forces were immediately in commotion. Sanur, you go. Chen Ao, the leader of the Chen clan, spoke to his son Chen Liang. Chen Liangne was the third son of Chen Ao, so Chen Ao called him the third son. Dao Tai. Baiji, go and try it. At the same time, the Holy Lord of the Holy Land, Gao Yi, also smiled slightly at the Saint Baiji of the Holy Land. Immediately, Baiji, dressed in a long skirt and with a graceful and plump figure, walked out of the Holy Land. Geniuses from other big forces have also stepped onto the stage. However, everyone stood on the Taoist platform and did not move at all. No. A flash of thought flashed in Wu Qi's eyes. Mr. Wu Qi, no, Wu Xiaoqan is here. At this time, an old man quickly walked up to Wu Qi and spoke in a low voice. The explorers controlled Wu Jinhai and Wu Mingshan, and not only confirmed Wu Qi's identity, but also told the tribe that Wu Xiaoqan and Wu Song had betrayed their oaths. Therefore, when they saw Wu Xiaoqan, the clan members immediately came to report him. When Wu Qi heard this, his face suddenly darkened. Look, they are already heading towards the Taoist platform. The old man pointed forward. In front of me, I saw a group of people approaching. One of them was Wu Xiaoqan. Along with him, there were several young men and women. Good night. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 787. Wu Qi looked forward, and sure enough he saw Wu Xiaoqan and others. A flash of surprise suddenly flashed in his eyes, and he instantly became gloomy. Behind him, a middle-aged man looked at Wu Xiaoqan and his group in shock. However, his focus was not on Wu Xiaoqan at all. But the fat man, the dog, the familiar figure next to Wu Xiaoqan. Ao Wushuan instantly felt his blood pressure soar. Damn it, why did we meet again? I have gone from the northern territory to the southern territory. The evil little mountain village is really haunted. Ao Wushuan retreated subconsciously, feeling that something was not right. You actually dare to come to Jinhai City, you are really looking for death. But at this moment, Wu Qi had already spoken, staring at Wu Xiaoqan and others, and said, "Get them. Wu Xiaoqan is extremely cunning, you must not listen to his sophistry. Just kill them all together." Hearing this, the old man beside him nodded immediately, without any doubt, and was ready to do it. After all, the old patriarch Wu Jinhai and the patriarch's successor Wu Mingshan had personally said before that Wu Xiaoqan was indeed a traitor. Don't mess around. But Ao Wushuan suddenly became anxious. Is this guy crazy? Instead of running away quickly without being discovered by those people, you actually want to take the initiative to kill them? Is this a deliberate gift? You can't mess with these people. Ao Wushuan held back his cold sweat and warned. However, Wu Qi suddenly became angry. Ao Wushuan, I have tolerated you for a long time. Who do you think you are? You are worthless and you talk nonsense all day long. Can't you offend me? Even if the King of Heaven comes today, I, Wu Qi, will still offend him. He was categorical and unquestionable. Hearing this, Xuanhuan suddenly fell silent. Then, I support you. Xuanhuan was so worried that he simply didn't care and said, "Go on, kill them, don't be afraid, go now." Wu Qi snorted, then led the people and rushed directly towards Wu Xiaoqan and others. "Now, Brother Long, this is the leader of our tomb keepers." Wu Xiaoqan led Long Zixuan and others into the city. He introduced, "We, the tomb keepers, guard 2 large tombs in the Wuhuang realm according to our ancestors' instructions. Dead Man's Wasteland, South China Sea. I heard my father say that the barrier of Zhenhai City has never been broken by anyone for eternity. It can only be changed if the person who answers the oath appears." He also explained the situation in Zhenhai City one by one. "Stop!" Suddenly, there was a loud shout in front of me. Wu Xiaoqan looked up and saw Wu Qi, leading a group of masters from the tomb guards, blocking him. "Wu Qi, you traitor!" Seeing Wu Qi, Wu Xiaoqan was immediately shocked and angry. "Third grandpa, he is a traitor. He betrayed the tomb keeper. Take him down quickly." Wu Xiaoqan spoke hurriedly to the old man beside Wu Qi. However, Wu Zhenbo, the third elder of the tomb keeper, his face darkened and he said, "You are the traitor. Old patriarch, your father, personally tell the whole clan that you and Wu Song conspired to break the oath and are the sinners of the whole clan. Now, you actually dare to appear here, you are so audacious. Someone, take it." He drank lowly. Several cultivators immediately stepped forward. Wu Xiaoqan was very shocked and angry. He didn't know what was going on, but he understood that it must be related to Wu Qi. "Wu Qi, I will fight you." Wu Xiaoqan stepped forward and used his martial arts skills, punching and kicking 3 times to directly knock away several cultivators of the third realm who rushed towards him. Seeing this, Wu Qi was surprised. He didn't expect that in such a short period of time, Wu Xiaoqan's cultivation would reach the 3rd level. What kind of speed is this? Did he get any chance? This scene also attracted the attention of many forces in the field. What happened? Well, it seems to be an internal matter within the tomb keeper. Is that young man a traitor that the tomb keeper is looking for? What kind of martial arts did he use? It looks very strong, just like the inheritance flowing from the martial arts gold list. Many experts stared at Wu Xiaoqan non-stop. They had noticed that the techniques used by Wu Xiaoqan were very extraordinary, and even had shadows of the martial arts gold list techniques. In fact, what Wu Xiaoqan used was the martial master inheritance on the northern martial arts gold list. He won't use the ultimate move like broadcast gymnastics easily. It seems that you betrayed your clan for glory, and gained a lot of money. Wu Qi stared at Wu Xiaoqan, with a touch of greed in his eyes, and said, "You will definitely die today. Do it." Immediately, the masters of the surrounding tomb guards surrounded him one after another. Among them, there are several elders from the 4 realms. But, right now, there is something strange happening on the Taoist platform. Suddenly, someone exclaimed. Suddenly, everyone's attention was focused on the platform. I saw that the Taoist platform paved with ancient bluestones actually had layers of complicated Taoist charms emerging at this moment. In an instant, everyone was excited. A martial arts genius awakened this place. It's very possible, will the Wu Zunbang come to this world? A great opportunity is about to come. Greatly awaited. Even Wu Qi was surprised. Could it be that among the people on the Taoist platform, there is someone who has taken the oath? But why was there no movement before? Boom! At this moment, above the sky changes color, as if an unparalleled existence is coming from the sky. Everyone in Zhenhai City looked up hurriedly. I saw the golden light in the sky. That is a golden divine list. Around the divine list, there seemed to be thousands of avenues falling in order, and the true meaning of martial arts suppressed thousands of white clouds, supreme, overlooking the entire martial world. Xuanhuan. It's really a martial arts list. The martial master list appears, for the third time in history. The whole city was excited. The Chen clan, the supreme holy land, etc. are all looking forward to it. At this moment, Wu Dade looked at Long Xuanhuan and said, "Senior brother Long, is this guy the original body of the stone outside your hut?" They already know that the so-called martial lord list was just an ordinary stone in the past, which was dyed with some of the martial lord's aura, so it turned into a divine list. Long Xuanhuan looked at the martial arts list on the sky, his eyes calm, and said, "It has taken on flesh and blood." After speaking, he said to the big black dog, "I want to see secretly whether it is good or evil now." The big black dog nodded and said, "Look at me." Immediately, the big black dog bit off a piece of hair from his body and said, "Each of you has one stick to cover your breath. Even if the broken stone comes in person, it won't be able to detect you." Zhang Li and others immediately got one. "Damn dog, you, how long have you not had a bath? Why is your hair so smelly?" Wu Dade, on the other hand, despised being authentic. "Human pet, are you itchy?" The big black dog bared its teeth and threatened. The world is watching and waiting. But among the thousands of rays of light on the golden divine list, a young man suddenly walked out. He came with his hands behind his back, his aloof temperament, walked out of the golden light, his starry eyes and sharp eyebrows, his majestic appearance. From a distance, he actually looks a lot like Long Xuanhuan. Seeing this man, the whole city was shocked. There are actually living beings walking out of the martial lord golden list. No. This man the Xuanhuan itself. What's going on? Everyone was staring at the man and making various guesses. At the same time, 5 old men suddenly appeared in the sky. The 5 old men, whose auras were extremely powerful, were located in 5 directions. They saluted the young man and shouted in unison, "Congratulations to Xuanhuan for his rebirth of the Holy Spirit, and congratulations to Yazun for his birth." These 5 old men immediately shocked the entire Zhenhai city. These 5 are the masters of the martial arts pavilion in the 5 major domains of East, West, South, North and Central. They are actually saluting that young man. The Holy Spirit of Xuanhuan, Yazun. That man is the transformation of Xuanhuan. In an instant, the whole city was silent. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 788. Xuanhuan Holy Spirit. Yazun. The identities of the 5 old men are extremely astonishing. They are the masters of the martial arts pavilions in the 5 major regions: Northern Territory, Middle Earth, Eastern Wasteland, Western Desert, and Southern Territory. In all major domains, there are definitely characters like Mount Tai and Baidu. Now, he respects the young man who came out of the martial arts list and calls him Yazun. How can this not surprise people? But at this moment, in the crowd, Wu Dade muttered, "It seems that this guy has agents not only in the north, but also in all major regions." The 5 major martial arts pavilions are all his minions, collecting martial arts geniuses for him, peeling off the skin and borrowing the bones, and finally made a walking corpse like senior brother Long. Hearing this, Zhang Li couldn't help but look at Long Xuanhuan. Indeed, even though the man in the sky was golden and had an aloof temperament, when compared with Long Xuanhuan, he suddenly felt strange that a tiger could not be compared to a dog. Feel. The Yazun appears in this world and is respected by the whole world. The 5 pavilion masters shouted at the people in Zhenhai city. Wu Yazun stood with his hands behind his back, took one step forward, and was already above Zhenhai city. "I am the spirit of Xuanhuan, Wu Yazun." A wisp of martial arts energy emitted, and immediately, everyone in Zhenhai City couldn't help but kneel down. Even great masters like Chen Ao and Gao Yishan were sweating and unable to resist. Because that wisp of martial arts energy contained the martial will that made them worship him. This is a kind of innate awe, a kind of worship that comes from instinct. Cannot resist. Greetings, Yazun. Greetings, Yazun. The world shouted. Amidst the cries of the people, Wu Yazun slowly fell down, and he landed on the Taoist platform with a majestic appearance. Looking at the Taoist platform here, there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. These stones have some of the aura of their owners back then. Unfortunately, the master is no longer here. There was a trace of sentimentality in his eyes, but then, the sentimentality disappeared, replaced by an unparalleled determination. Although the master is gone, his path is still in the world. He is still waiting for future generations to take it. He whispered, and then he suddenly raised his eyes, with invisible golden light sweeping across the world. I was born a little early, and I have some shortcomings in my origin. I can use your energy to make up for it. Following his words, countless masters and geniuses all over the city, all with bits of divine origin, gathered towards him. He is devouring the divine origin of everyone. This. No. Our origin is being lost. This will cause our longevity to decrease. Many people were horrified. This is completely different from what they imagined. Wouldn't the martial master list be passed down to martial arts geniuses? They are all here for this. But now, they are suffering from catastrophe. Pavilion Master Gu. Gao Yishan looked ugly and looked at Gu Zhongtian, the patron of the martial arts pavilion in China. He and Gu Zhongtian are old friends. However, Gu Zhongtian just said indifferently. It is your great honor that Yazun takes your origin. Hearing this, Gao Yishan and others were in despair. Trap, this is a trap. There are evil spirits in the martial lord list who need flesh and blood to be reborn. This is a conspiracy, and we have all been plotted. What a poison, what a deep plot. For a moment, everyone in the audience was wailing and screaming. Many strong men of the older generation have almost lost their longevity in an instant and are about to die. The young genius became more than 10 years older in an instant, and his roots were severely damaged. Chen Liang, the genius of the Chen clan, looks pale at the moment. The Holy Land Saint Baiji's delicate body trembled at this moment, sweat dripped down her smooth chin, and she felt like she was exhausted. The greater the genius, the greater the loss of divine origin. However, in front of Wu Yazun, no one could resist. Everyone was trembling. Among the crowd at the back, Yang Tian, who finally arrived, was kneeling on the ground. However, something was strange about him. He was okay? Could it be that the Wu Zunbang looked down on my martial arts origin? At this moment, Yang Tian felt complicated. He didn't know whether he should be grateful or feel inferior. Why do you smell like dog? But at this moment, a middle-aged man kneeling next to him sniffed at him with a look of suspicion on his face. This middle-aged man was clearly Ao Wushuan. He quietly slipped out of the crowd and almost ran away. However, when the martial lord ranking came, he was forced to kneel down at the edge of the crowd again. Hearing this, Yang Tian suddenly became angry and said, "What nonsense are you talking about? How dare you insult me like this?" Hearing this, Ao Wushuan hurriedly said, "No, no. Don't mind, sir, I'm allergic to dog smell, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Yang Tian had no time to care about him at the moment, so he turned his head and looked at Wu Yazun with reverence. He planned to go to Wu Yazun for advice later. But Ao Wushuan murmured. Everyone's origin has been swallowed up, but not this guy. It seems that this guy probably has something to do with the big black dog. In the blink of an eye, countless masters, geniuses, and massive amounts of divine origin were sucked away by Wu Yazun. His aura suddenly became more mysterious. All the geniuses in the audience are exhausted. Some older masters lost too much and died directly. At this moment, Wu Yazun slowly stopped. He stood on the platform and said, "The body is complete. I am already at my peak, enough to fight against the weird." His cold gaze swept across the entire audience. "I have borrowed the flesh and blood of many geniuses, and I have also taken away the origins of the world's masters. Today, I have taken on your divine energy. But, everything I, Wu Yazun, do, are all for the sake of the common people in the world." He opened his mouth, as if trying to convince himself, and said, "Only I can save the Wuhuang world." After the words fell, he raised his hand, and suddenly, countless golden rays of light flew out of his hand, and entered the minds of many geniuses in the field, such as Chen Liang, Baiji, etc. "Today, I will go on the road to suppress the enemy in the sea. Before I go on the road, I will leave behind all the Dharma in the martial master list for future generations to understand. Those who have obtained the martial arts will be the successors of the martial masters and must practice diligently. Don't let the martial arts be cut off just like this." At this moment, Wu Yazun spoke earnestly and thoughtfully, as if he was explaining his funeral affairs, saying, "Everyone can have a chance to ask me. Now, you can ask." This contrast shocked everyone present. Wu Yazun, who had just mercilessly plundered everyone's origins, was now so generous, and earnestly entrusted, just like a martial arts master. Many people can't see through him. Yazun. On the contrary, Baiji was the first to muster up the courage and said, "May I ask Yazun, can the feminine way lead to martial arts?" She practices feminine ways, but martial arts is more about masculine techniques, and she is very concerned about this. There is no fear in martial arts, and all techniques are accessible. As long as you have a fearless heart, the feminine way can also control all kinds of masculine techniques. Wu Yazun answered. When Baiji heard this, her Taoist heart suddenly settled. The feminine way can also be the great way. "May I ask Yazun, what is the heart of a warrior?" Chen Liang spoke. Wu Yazun said, "The heart of martial arts is not to bully the weak. Don't kill innocent people. Don't be afraid of strong enemies." As he spoke, he paused, and said, "The heart of martial arts is the most difficult to achieve. Even I have bullied the weak, killed innocent people indiscriminately, and feared the enemy. Therefore, my heart of martial arts has been shattered, and I will never reach the realm of martial master. Remember, the heart of martial arts must be cultivated from every little thing. The deviation of martial arts only takes place in one thought." Hearing this, Chen Liang couldn't help but be stunned. He didn't expect that a peerless powerhouse like Wu Yazun would admit frankly that his own martial arts heart was in pieces. At this moment, Chen Liang couldn't help but be in awe of Wu Yazun. Yazun. At this time, behind the crowd, a young man in white robe said, "I'm sorry, I want to ask Yazun for advice." It was Yang Tian. His eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Seeing this, Wu Yazun nodded and said, "Very good, come here quickly and I'll beat you to death." Yang Tian. However, he still walked step by step to the platform where Wu Yazun was. "Please Yazun, enlighten me." He suddenly put his hands together and evolved a martial arts technique. That was what his follower Sen Minji sent to him from the northern border. It is said that Wu Yazun's method was auctioned from the northern realm Genchi Pavilion and came from the martial arts gold list. Now, Yang Tian wants to challenge Wu Yazun with the methods in the martial arts gold list. He wants to prove that his martial arts qualifications are unparalleled. Seeing this, countless people around were shocked, because the style Yang Tian showed was really extraordinary. The rhyme of martial arts spread out layer by layer, with ups and downs, and even the sound of martial arts sounded along with it. This boy is not simple, he can be called the #1 genius in the field. The Supreme Holy Land Gao Yishan couldn't help but spoke in surprise. He is so courageous, so he must be valued by Wu Yazun, and he may receive a peerless inheritance. Chen Ao, the head of the Chen clan, was also filled with emotion. Even the masters of the 5 major martial arts pavilions behind Wu Yazun were quite surprised and looked at Yang Tian with admiration. However, Wu Yazun raised his hand and punched out suddenly. In an instant, Yang Tian was smashed into a pulp. He was beaten to death? Everyone in the audience was stunned. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xin. Chapter 789. Yang Tian, one of the peerless talents from the Guardian family, displays extremely powerful martial arts. Everyone felt that with Yang Tian's peerless appearance, strength, and courage, he would definitely be valued by Wu Yazun and pass down the peerless method. As a result, he was punched to death? Who can not be surprised? How is this going? Die like this? Everyone murmured. Master. Yang Tian's protector, Yang Chengxian, ran over in a hurry, his face extremely sad, looking at the pile of meat on the ground. He wanted to cry without tears. However, Wu Yazun said calmly. There is something wrong with the method he practices. Someone has mixed a forbidden curse into it. I beat him to death and also wiped out the forbidden spell in his body. After this punch, his qualifications have reached a higher level, and all my skills are also contained in this punch. Hearing this, Yang Chengxian cried instantly and said. But Yazun, everyone is dead. Will it still be useful if my qualifications are improved to a higher level? There is a martial arts method hidden in a pile of meat, so what can it do? Wu Yazun said. I gave him a chance to survive. As he spoke, he pointed at a middle-aged man kneeling behind the crowd and said. Ask him to get some origin qi. After a few days, your young master can be revived. When Yang Chengxian heard this, he was suddenly startled. Yang Tian, can still live. He hurriedly collected all Yang Tian's meat, and then ran towards the middle-aged man outside the crowd. Sir, please save my young master's life. He knelt directly in front of the middle-aged man, kowtowed repeatedly and saluted. And the middle-aged man was clearly Ao Wushuan, and he was also confused at this moment. What is this for? You've already died like this, turned into flesh, and you still ask yourself for help from your source? Is it reliable? He really doesn't want to save her. However, now he did not dare to refuse, so he could only say. Easy to say, easy to say. In front, many people spoke one by one, asking Wu Yazun various questions about cultivation. Yazun. But at this moment, Wu Qi hurriedly stepped forward, knelt on the ground, and said. Yazun, we are your slaves. We have been protecting this place for generations, why don't you give us some martial arts skills? Expectation was written on his face. Just now Wu Zun passed down a lot of dharma, but in the end, he got nothing. That's why he boldly stepped forward to ask questions. Mainly, he felt that because of the tomb keeper's affection for guarding the tomb for generations, if he wanted some inheritance, Wu Yazun should give it. But when Wu Yazun heard this, he glanced at Wu Qi coldly. With all the karma you have, you still dare to pretend in front of me. Do you really think I can't see the darkness in your heart? A golden light swept across his eyes. At this moment, Wu Qi felt as if he had been completely seen through. Wu Yazun even sneered and said, if you betray your oath and harm your tribe, you should be punished. As soon as he finished speaking, he pointed out. No. Wu Qi let out a shrill scream. He felt that a disaster was coming, but he couldn't save himself. Then, he turned into a ball of blood mist, and his body and soul were destroyed. Yazun. This. Elder Wu Zhenbo and others from the Tomb Keeper lineage all looked at each other. You have been deceived by others, and the evildoers are hiding in the city. Forget it, I hope you will be waiting diligently to help you resolve this matter. Wu Yazun waved his hand. Immediately, all the heavenly mechanisms started to move. In Zhenhai City, in a certain secret palace, the faces of Zhao Jixiao, He Luo, and others who were waiting changed drastically. No. When the disaster was approaching, they were horrified, and all the life-saving magical objects on their bodies shone brightly. However, when this kind of energy came, they were unable to resist at all and died immediately. Zhao Jixiao was a peak expert in the sixth realm, but he died so directly at this moment. In Zhenhai City, Wu Zhenbo and others' expressions changed. Are they being deceived? Wu Qi is the one who broke the oath? How is this going? For a moment, they couldn't figure it out. Everyone around them was amazed. Wu Yazun's realm was unimaginable and peerless. He could kill all the little ones who were hiding in the dark with just a raise of his hand. The law has been preached and the matter is settled. Wu Yazun spoke slowly and said, "It's time for me to suppress the unrest." After speaking, he waved his hand, and all the talented masters around the platform were moved away by inexplicable force. He was the only one left on the platform, as well as the 5 masters of the martial arts pavilion. The person waiting for the oath on this platform should be the master. Wu Yazun whispered. At this moment, he closed his eyes and sensed the qi of the Taoist platform. The master is dead. I will bring peace to this place for him. Open the barrier for me. He was whispering to the platform. However, although the Dao platform fluctuated with Dao rhyme, it never opened the Great Wall barrier. What are you waiting for? In the South China Sea, strange creatures are almost eroding the master's medicine. Once the golden lotus is taken away, that strange creature will bring disaster to the entire ancestral world. This barrier cannot stop it. Now is the best opportunity to take action. I am the only one who can suppress this chaos. Let me go. Let me go. Let me go. Wu Yazun was roaring, his fists were clenched, and he was shouting at the Taoist platform at the top of his lungs. The crowd is far away. Long Xuanhuan felt something in his heart and thought about it. Boom. On the platform where Wu Yazun was, tens of thousands of rays of light appeared in an instant. That was, the aura that had the same origin as the Great Wall barrier. At this moment, the invisible barrier on the Great Wall suddenly lit up, and then suddenly disappeared. The hot sea breeze swept from the sea cliff, making the entire Zhenhai city feel a strange fishy saltiness. And a overwhelming strange aura. The Great Wall barrier is open. The eternal barrier between the South China Sea and Wuhuan continent has been shattered. I feel a kind of fear coming from my soul. What is hidden in the South China Sea? At this moment, countless people in the city were trembling. Purely weird creatures, there are purely weird creatures hidden in the South China Sea. Gao Yishan, who was in the Holy Land, was trembling and lost his voice at this moment. Hearing this, everyone in the audience was even more shocked. How could a purely weird creature appear in the ancestral world? In the post-White Mist era, haven't all the chaos been suppressed by the founder of the 9 laws? The world of great changes will begin in the martial wilderness world. The origin of the disaster. Everyone is panicking. At the same time, from above the South China Sea, a terrifying giant claw protruded out from the vast smoke waves, pressing down overwhelmingly. The Tianese Peninsula was trembling. The Zhenhai Great Wall, which had lost the protection of its barrier, was instantly destroyed into ashes. The entire Zhenhai city was in danger. As long as that shocking giant claw falls, the entire Tianese Peninsula will disappear. Countless creatures will die directly. However, at this moment, Wu Yazun took one step forward. Wait, get behind me. He waved his sleeves, and the entire Zhenhai city, and even the creatures in the Tianese Peninsula, were rolled up by him and sent to the rear, far away from this place. He stood in front of everyone. At this moment, Wu Yazun raised his fist, punched the giant claw hard. Boom! The space exploded, the void trembled, the waters of the Tianese Peninsula overturned, and the grey sea waves shattered the sea cliffs with shocking power. The giant claw retracted. But Wu Yazun retreated thousands of miles alive. Yazun. The masters of the 5 major martial arts pavilions changed their expressions when they saw this, and spoke hurriedly. Wu Yazun's face was a little pale, but he shook his head and said, "I'm fine." He looked at the vast South China Sea ahead and murmured, "I didn't expect that the remaining weird creatures in the South China Sea would actually recover to this level. It's a pity that my martial arts level is not enough. I haven't set off on the road yet. If I go on the road, I might still have a chance to kill it." There was a trace of sadness on his face and he said, "It's a pity that I don't have time anymore. If it recovers, no one in the ancestral world can suppress it." He suddenly turned his head towards the many geniuses who had just received his teachings and said, "You are all the seeds of martial arts. Leave the martial world, run for your lives, and don't come back again. Leave a trace of fire for martial arts." He waved. Immediately, Baiji, Chen Liang, and Yang Chengxian, who was holding a pile of meat paste, all disappeared from the place in an instant. They were sent away by Wu Yazun. After everyone left, a touch of relief appeared in Wu Yazun's eyes. "I've done everything I can do for martial arts," he whispered and said. "For thousands of years, I have deprived many geniuses of their lives, but I have also truly found 2 good seeds for martial arts. They have left the martial world, carrying the fire of martial arts with them." What he said was that he was the only 2 strong men in the history of the martial world who had received the inheritance of the martial honor list. The ancestor of the Chen family and the ultimate Holy Land. In addition to these seeds today, martial arts should not be eliminated. It won't happen. After saying that, he turned around, looked at the endless sea of smoke, and said, "I have no regrets. Today, I just want to fight." His fighting spirit was so high that he led the 5 pavilion masters into the sky above the grey foggy sea. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 790. The smoke was vast and the sea was covered with grey fog, making it impossible to see clearly. Wu Yazun's face was expressionless, and he walked away with his hands behind his hands. As he moved forward, the surrounding thick fog dispersed instantly. The master of the 5 major martial arts pavilions followed behind him, with no fear in his eyes. In the sea, grey-blue water rises and falls one after another, with waves splashing everywhere. It seems vaguely like a giant shark is running amok, a magic dolphin leaps out of the water, and a terrifying giant whale stirs up huge waves. All the creatures in the sea have been infected by the strange creatures and become their slaves. You are not him. Deep in the grey mist, a pair of scarlet eyes suddenly lit up. Those eyes were as huge as stars, like 2 bloody moons on the sea. The blood-colored eyes illuminated the sea. Looking from a distance, he saw a giant withered lotus standing in the middle of the endless sea. And above the withered giant lotus, entwined is a huge stone snake with a broken tail. The stone snake has cracks all over its body, and there is a huge pit 7 inches away, which looks like it was pointed out by someone. The stone snake's tongue was flat, and its 2 bloody eyes stared at Wu Yazun sinisterly. An inexplicable chill spread across the entire sea. The endless restless grey mist creatures on the seabed, such as giant sharks, devil dolphins, etc., suddenly became quiet, as if they were waiting. Wu Yazun looked at the giant snake and withered giant lotus in front of him, his eyelids twitched slightly, and he said with anger, "I'm not him. If I were him, you would have been destroyed by that punch just now. Hearing this, the giant snake's scarlet blood eyes revealed a mocking look and said, "He is dead. I'm alive. His lotus has become my meal. Haha, martial arts Tianxinlian, a slice of the first level of heaven, it's really delicious. It's a pity that I couldn't taste his body." As it spoke, it opened its huge mouth and gnawed on the withered giant lotus. "You dare!" When Wu Yazun saw this, he was furious and said, "Martial Lord's lotus, even if you die, you won't be allowed to get involved." He clenched his fists and rushed towards the giant gray snake. In the sea, all kinds of terrifying creatures rush out of the sea and sweep into the sky, trying to kill them. Wu Yazun punched out, killing countless strange creatures in the sea. A group of stone crows flew over, densely packed. "Master, leave these to us." When the masters of the 5 great martial arts pavilions spoke, they roared and moved forward to block the stone crows. There are 5 of them, 4 of them are in 6 realms, and Gu Zhongtian, the master of the Middle Earth martial arts pavilion, is a strong one in 7 realms. However, in front of those stone crows, the 5 people were in extremely embarrassed condition. In the blink of an eye, they were covered with bruises and were pecked to pieces by the stone crows. Wu Yazun showed a domineering attitude and suppressed countless creatures with his tyrannical martial arts. Finally, he was about to kill the withered giant lotus. However, on top of the withered giant lotus, the gray giant snake only sneered in its huge blood pupils. "You are too weak. You dare to attack me because you are tainted with some of his anger from the past? Stupid! Kneel down, respect me as your master, and become my slave. I can grant you the eternity of gray mist." The giant snake opened its mouth, and 2 rays of world-destroying light suddenly shot out from its bloody eyes. The 2 rays of light shot directly towards Wu Yazun. All the strength in Wu Yazun's body exploded, his flesh and blood were burning, and he tried his best to block these 2 bloody eyes. However, the power in those 2 eyes had exceeded his limit. That giant gray snake has recovered to its top-level power over countless years. It's hard to find an opponent in this world. Wu Yazun couldn't take a step forward. His fists held up a martial arts light curtain to resist the glare. However, the power of that gaze gradually increased. Wu Yazun's body was overflowing with blood. His knees were about to burst. "In the past, I knelt before Martial Lord, praying for a way to survive, haha, today, it is you who will kneel in front of me in his place." The giant snake spoke coldly, its body moved, and its eyes widened. Wu Yazun's knees exploded. He will be forced to kneel down. No. Wu Yazun's eyes were filled with rage. He tried his best but couldn't resist. "I can die, but I can never disgrace the name of the martial lord." He went crazy, his hair was dancing wildly, and his eyes were about to burst. "Today, let me use my life to inflict another 1,000 years of damage on you." His aura is frantic, and he wants to induce the last martial master's aura to explode. Seeing this, even the giant snake was startled and shouted, "Are you crazy?" Although Wu Yazun has not yet started his journey, the aura of Wu Yazun on his body is extremely extraordinary. If it is exploded in this way, it is very likely to cause serious injuries again. By then, it will never be able to recover without thousands of years of time. "I've been crazy for a long time, ha 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 ha." Wu Yazun shouted. At this moment, he was completely crazy. "My master died in battle, but I was powerless. I took the wrong path and killed too many innocent people." At the moment of death, Wu Yazun suddenly felt sad in his heart. Master, Xiao Shitu, really tried his best. "Sorry," he murmured, his soul was about to explode. However, at this moment, a voice sounded calmly. "No need to blow yourself up to deal with it." Hearing this voice, Wu Yazun was immediately startled. There was a look of disbelief in his eyes. "Owner. Am I hallucinating?" He couldn't believe it. Could it be that I missed him so much that I heard the master's voice? At the same time, even the arrogant grey giant snake was a little panicked at the moment. Who's talking? Get out of here. Don't think that, by pretending to be that person's voice, you can scare me. It actually had a bit of a stern expression, as if it was comforting itself, and said, "He's dead, he won't survive." However, as soon as he finished speaking, another voice sounded. "Really? Then I will come back to life and show you." This time, Wu Yazun and the giant grey snake were suddenly startled and looked towards the source of the sound. I saw in the waves of the sea, at some point, there was a huge Xuanhuan as big as a mountain, coming along the waves, riding the wind and waves. All the grey creatures around him, such as giant whales, giant turtles, etc., hurriedly moved away, terrified. And on the back of the huge basalt turtle, there were several young people standing impressively. One of them, one in the lead, stood with his hands behind his back, looking calmly at the sky. His expression was somewhat similar to that of Wu Yazun, but in comparison, Wu Yazun looked distorted and strange, like an imitation. Seeing him, Wu Yazun, who was already on the verge of self-destruction, was suddenly shocked. He stared at Long Xuanhuan. "You, master." Wu Yazun spoke subconsciously, and then suddenly knelt down. "Master, you are back. Is this real?" At this moment, Wu Yazun burst into tears. And on top of the withered giant lotus, the giant snake that was so powerful that day actually trembled at this moment, and there seemed to be fear in its giant scarlet eyes. "No. How could you still be alive?" It swept across Zhongli, Wu Dade, the big black dog beside Long Xuanhuan at the same time, and even the giant turtle under everyone's feet. "How is it possible that you are all still alive?" The words of the giant snake are terrifying. Sleep. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 791. The vast sea, the grey fog stretches. At this moment, the fishy wind blew, the waves were silent, and the entire sea was almost silent at this moment. Wu Yazun knelt down towards Long Xuanhuan and others, his eyes filled with tears. The giant snake looked at Long Xuanhuan and others, as if in fear. Is he really the master? Wu Yazun turned into a stream of light and flew in front of Long Xuanhuan. His body was trembling, as if he couldn't believe it. Long Xuanhuan looked at Wu Yazun, sighed slightly and said, "It's me. It's me." Just this sentence. The master is still alive, the master is reborn, great, great. Wu Yazun was immediately excited. He knelt down towards Long Xuanhuan, as pious as worshipping a god, and kowtowed. "Little stone, meet the master." As for the giant grey snake entwined with the withered giant lotus, its eyes were full of horror at this moment, and it said, "Martial Lord. Kazun, Manzun, Xuanhuan, Xuanhuan. You are actually reincarnated." It recognized Long Xuanhuan, Wu Dade, and others, and at this moment, there was a huge wave in its heart. These people were earth-shattering existences in the pre-white mist era. In the past, because of their existence, even the grey mist world was almost killed, the strong fell like rain, and the whole world was almost overturned. Their opponent is also the most powerful existence in the grey mist world. Even though the grey giant snake is also very strong, in the past, it was not qualified to be the opponent of the 10 lords. But aren't the 10 deities and others completely dead? Why rebirth? The giant snake felt a sense of terror. What existence and what power was driving all of this in this world? It seems that in this white mist world, there is a power that we have not discovered, that controls the reincarnation of cause and effect. It's a pity, you showed up too early. His blood-colored eyes were extremely cold, and he said, "The strongest one among you has actually become this dog, but even the strongest one has no way to go, Are you seeking death by appearing in front of me? Haha, speaking of which, should I be grateful to this ignorant stone? If he hadn't come to die, you might not have shown up. It sinks in. Regardless of why Wuzun and others were reborn, now, they are all very weak. Can be strangled. It already has murderous intentions. After hearing this, the big black dog was the first to speak, saying, "Little earthworm, who do you think you are? In the past, the ancestors of your clan were just my meal." The dog's eyes were filled with disdain. The giant snake said angrily, "Xuanhuan, you committed a taboo in the past and gnawed several ancestors of our clan. Today, I will completely kill you, this evil dog." In the eyes of the giant gray snake, two rays of light that destroyed the world suddenly shot out. Wherever the world-destroying light passed, even space turned into a black hole, destroying everything. This gray giant snake was a strong man who participated in the last battle in the pre-White Mist era. Its strength is unimaginable. In today's world, it has hit the road again, and its strength is astounding. When the big black dog saw this, he was very contemptuous and said, "That's it? You're too weak. A weak stinky fish like you is not worthy of my claws." It said towards Long Xuan. "Go on, kill it. Everyone." Long Xuan stepped forward and raised his hand. Behind Wu Yuzun, a golden divine list suddenly appeared. It was made of small stones, and it was stained with the aura of Long Xuan's past. At this moment, Long Xuan is also using the spirit of the past life to perform the methods of this life. Long Xuan did not take action, but suddenly closed his eyes. Those martial arts auras match him. On the next page, his eyes suddenly opened. A pair of eyes were like two candles shining for eternity, as if there was some kind of Taoist charm flowing and evolving. Two martial arts eyes shot out directly. Boom! Big explosion in the void. Long Xuan's eyes directly collided with the giant snake's bloody eyes, and a strong shockwave erupted. The sea water surged into the sky and big waves splashed everywhere. The blood-colored eyes were directly cut off. No. On the withered giant lotus, the gray giant snake had gray blood overflowing from its eyes, and its whole body was trembling. He lost. At this moment, it was panicking to the extreme. Looking at Long Xuan, it was like seeing the invincible martial lord of the past. "No. You can't kill me. If you come here, I will swallow the last trace of the true spirit of the martial arts Tianxinlian." It was threatening, opening its huge mouth and about to bite the last petal of the withered giant lotus. All the petals of the withered giant lotus have withered and petrified, leaving only the centerpiece, which has not yet been completely petrified and seems to have some vitality left. "Is it? Would you like to try swallowing it?" Long Xuan spoke indifferently, put his hands behind his back and left, taking one step forward. At this moment, Long Xuan seemed to have become the master of this world. His momentum was astonishing, and he carried an unparalleled martial arts will, as if the entire ocean could not bear it. The giant gray snake trembled, completely trembled. Its big gray mouth was open, but its nerves were instantly tense and it couldn't even move. It really wanted to bite off the last petal of the withered giant lotus, but it couldn't do it. This is the oppression of martial arts will. Not fighting, but subjugating others' troops. "Help me." It opens towards the bottom of the sea with difficulty. In an instant, the roots of the withered giant lotus suddenly began to tremble violently. Suddenly, the withered giant lotus rose into the sky, its roots leaving the sea. I saw that the roots of the withered giant lotus were actually densely packed and entangled with dozens of big snakes. Their aura is even stronger than that of the giant snake just now. "Damn it, have you stabbed a snake's nest?" Wu Dade was shocked immediately. The innate ability of the eternally ringed demonic snake family is self-breeding. Even if there is only one snake left in the world, it can give birth to a big family, human pet. Do you want to learn? The big black dog spoke. When Wu Dade heard this, his scalp felt numb. Isn't this kind of snake, too lewd? At this moment, dozens of giant snakes were roaring crazily with overwhelming power. Even Long Xuanhuan seemed inaccessible. With a ray of martial arts energy, the strength he can exert is limited after all. Martial Lord, you deserve to die in this life. Among the many big snakes, the strongest one opened his mouth and suddenly spit out a terrifying snake spear. The snake spear came through space with a world-destroying aura. Beyond the road level. Wu Yazun was shocked and said, "Master, be careful." He stepped forward hard, as if he wanted to help Long Xuanhuan. However, Long Xuanhuan looked indifferent, and he suddenly took out a broken wooden basin. The wooden basin looked grey and about to rot. Long Xuanhuan threw the wooden basin towards the lotus. The terrifying snake spears struck the wooden basin. At this moment, it was as if the wooden basin was made of divine gold and steel, and the snake spear was made of rotten wood. The snake spear turned directly into fly ash. The wooden basin instantly enlarged tens of millions of times, like a peerless magic weapon, covering the entire wither giant lotus, and then fell down. No. What is this? Is it an artifact of Tianzun? The group of snakes were all terrified at this moment. They were unable to resist at all, just like a group of small loaches suddenly covered by a big basin. Together with the wither giant lotus they were entangled with, and the sea water where the wither giant lotus was located, they were all absorbed by the wooden basin. The vast wooden basin, after absorbing the wither giant lotus and the group of snakes, instantly shrank to the size of an ordinary wooden basin and flew back towards Long Xuanhuan. Long Xuanhuan took the wooden basin and looked down. In the wooden basin, he saw a withered lotus floating on the water, and under the lotus, there seemed to be a group of small loaches. This wooden basin did not directly kill those grey snakes, it seemed to seal them away. When Wu Yazun saw this scene, he was extremely shocked. Those terrifying giant snakes were actually collected like this? Wrong. At this moment, Wu Yazun suddenly felt something. He appeared directly behind Long Xuanhuan, spreading his arms as if to block something. A stone crow appeared directly in front of him. The stone crow sneaked in and was extremely secretive. At this moment, Xia saw that Wu Yazun was blocking him, and with a fierce bite, he tore Wu Yazun's chest, held his heart in his mouth, and flew around the 9 heavens. The 9-life stone crow? Is this thing still alive? The big black dog couldn't help being surprised when he saw this. The stone crow hid it too well, so it didn't discover it in time. Wu Yazun had fallen to the ground, his face pale. Small stone. Long Xuanhuan hurriedly stepped forward. He looked at Wu Yazun, a flash of pain flashed in his eyes, and said, "You shouldn't be like this, it can't hurt me." Just now, his martial arts intuition has discovered the stone crow, and he just wants to get the stone crow closer so that he can kill it easily. "Master, Xiao Shitu knows that it can't hurt you." Wu Yazun spoke, his mouth full of blood, but with a relieved smile in his eyes. "But Xiao Shitu want to die for his master." "Master, Xiao Shitu knows that he is wrong, he has killed too many innocent people. Death is the only forgiveness for Xiao Shitu." From the moment he decided to look for the weird creatures, Xiao Shitu had no intention of going back alive. Xiao Shitu was really happy to see his master, so happy. With tears and laughter in his eyes, he murmured, "The little stone just wants to wait outside the master's hut, to be a stone forever." After saying that, Wu Yazun disappeared into thin air. He wanted to die, so he just allowed the stone crow to destroy his soul. In place, a faint golden divine list lost all its luster and turned into a stone the size of a human head, which looked so ordinary.